Why do I look so tired? Wire Room, that's why. Wire Room is a bad Bruce Willis movie. It's directed by one of the bad Bruce Willis movie directors. Probably the worst, if not one of them. His name is Matt Eskandari, or as I like to refer to him as Matt Eskandari. Yeah, I've watched 3 of this guy's movies. Trauma Center, Survive the Night, and Hard Kill. In fact, those were probably my 3 first shitty Bruce Willis movie reviews. Trauma Center started it all for me. Opened this whole world up. I wasn't not looking forward to this movie. I really wasn't. Because why? Some of these movies, in order to, at least for me, to be some semblance of fun, need an interesting second. Doesn't matter if you sleep through the movie, but some of these movies have had interesting secondary actors like, wow, I'm blanking. Christopher Maloney or Frank Grillo. Actors like that can bring a bit of spark and interest in an otherwise shitty, lifeless movie. Well, this time, the second is played by Kevin Dillon. Not even the good Dillon. So he's the main actor in this. I know I called him the second, but Bruce Willis is the draw, and they usually have a not as big a name to do all the heavy lifting. So he gets a job doing this wire room, and it's this room that's fixed up to monitor wiretaps and surveillance cameras and shit like that. And that's cool. And then his bosses fuck off, one of them's being Bruce Willis. And I'm like, alright, this is an interesting setup. And as I watch this movie, I feel like, of course, this is lazy, cheaply made, rushed bullshit, but the idea behind this movie is kind of cool. You got a guy in this wiretap room monitoring as things go south for a target and helping this target try to survive and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, he's got to survive too because there's people after him as well. That sounds kind of interesting, except the whole movie is just cliched and boring. And you ever seen Star Trek The Wrath of Khan? Famously, if you haven't seen it, Khan and Kirk do not meet face to face. It's all done via view screens and shit like that. Well, that worked for that movie. That movie is a masterpiece. This movie, for almost all of it, everyone is in a separate location or separate room, and it's just non-stop, constant phone calls. And they're all in empty rooms just talking to each other. I'm like, alright, it was made in 2021, okay, there must have been COVID restrictions, right? And that's fine, I understand that. However, I've seen so many of these shitty Bruce Willis movies made during the COVID era where they had people in the same room talking. And that does happen a couple times in this movie, but for most of it, it's just people in a room by themselves. Which means this movie was so cheaply made and shoddily done. Like, this is how I imagine this movie was made, right? Alright, everyone's in separate rooms for this. Yep, except for these key scenes. Right, so we'll get all the scenes where everyone's in a room at the same time done first. And then for the rest of the shoot, we'll do the Kev by himself scenes. We'll do this Irish gangster guy scenes at his house by himself. We'll do Texas Battle over here by himself. Always on the phone talking to different people, all this kind of stuff. I understand it's a surveillance movie and some of this stuff is necessary, but I'm just like, holy shit, can something please happen now? Please! And so the thing is, emergency happens right away, so Kev does what he should do. He rings up his boss, Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis is like, yeah, I'm busy, hangs up on him, and goes to the strip club or whatever to get fucking drunk. And then he doesn't answer his phone for ages, chastises Kev, and he says, oh, I'll be right there. You don't see him for another fucking, what feels like a million years. He rings the other person who works there, this lady. There's only 3 employees in this super important wire room, but that... And she takes a sweet-ass time getting there as well. There's a scene where Bruce and Kev have to barricade a door, and on either side of it is glass, and I'm just like, they're just going to shoot the glass. But then I remember, they won't shoot the glass. These movies don't have a budget. So what are they going to do? They're just going to bang the door in or whatever, because they don't Whenever glass breaks in these movies, there's always that shitty bullet effect, and you can tell it's fake. Just like all the bullet shots in this movie when someone gets shot, almost all of them. There's a couple blood splatters here and there, but almost all of them look like CGI bullshit. So obviously they weren't going to break the glass, and Texas Battle has to say in like another couple of scenes, "Oh, it's bulletproof glass, dipshit." And I'm like, yeah, of course it is. It's bulletproof because you can't afford to fucking break it. Also, why would you even have the glass there as bulletproof on either sides of this door at the secure location? Because people can just like, you bad guys, if they break in, can just like look in, see how many of you there are. You know, all this kind of stuff. It's a movie that has an interesting premise, but gets so much wrong, or just overlooks so many details. There's no logic. Like, Kev, alright, Bruce isn't answering. The lady's taking too long to arrive. Yeah, I've got to show you how phones work, otherwise you won't know what I'm talking about, right? And, alright, they're not answering, but there's corrupt cops. Maybe they're corrupt. Alright, so call other cops. Call all of the cops at the same time. You're in a wire room, you got all these phones and shit. Call everyone. Hell, that's not going to work, or too much corruption. Leak that shit to the press or something. He doesn't do any of that. Oh, damn. See, then you could have had ways around it. Like, you could have had, like, one of the corrupt guys, like, snip the generator or something so the power goes down or whatever, and all this kind of stuff. But they don't do any of that either. There's so many things they could have done, I feel like, that they didn't, because this was a rush job. Everyone was filmed separately and independently for, like, most of the film, it feels like. And this is a bad movie. Everyone's bad in it. Though the Irish gangster dude does try. Like, he's probably the most interesting character in it. But yeah, this movie is bad. I felt bad for watching it, but I did it for you, to tell you what you already know, and that this movie's fucking shit. It is stanky turd nuggets. And do not watch Wire Room. It is awful. Awful. I took 2 breaks. This movie goes for 90 minutes. I had to take 2 breaks. One of them was to do laundry, because doing the laundry seemed like more fun than watching this fucking movie. Fuck this movie.